Hi there. So I've had several requests for an analysis of the channeling that was uploaded for the 1111. So that was entitled Crystalline Samhain 1111 Stargate, November 11th, 2019. So yes, I've had a few requests for analysis of this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so the transmission starts with, we come forward now at this time, the white-winged collective consciousness of 9, through our conduit Magenta Pixie, to speak of the peak point, culmination point, energetic spike of an energy portal you are now aligning with or are sitting within. So this transmission was specific to the 1111, November 11th. That doesn't mean that that energy, that energetic has gone. That particular energetic remained open, if you like. That Stargate remained open until the 13th of November. But we are moving now into the winter solstice Stargate. There is a connection between these two Stargates, the one around Samhain 1111 into the winter solstice. It's a very smooth ride into that next Stargate. So we don't really necessarily come out of one energy and go into the next one. It is it's a portal that remains open, and that portal has spikes or culmination points or energy raises within it. So to do this analysis, it's not just analysing a transmission specific for November 11th. It's a transmission that will apply through to the winter solstice. So that first bit is pretty much self-explanatory. We come forward now at this time, the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. For anyone new to this channel who isn't aware of what that means and who the 9 are, there are two ways of looking at this in a very simplistic explanation. One would be that as a conduit, I open my energetic fields and make a connection with a higher dimensional intelligence that is at the group soul level, group consciousness level. That would be the same consciousness perhaps as ascended masters or a source presentation, different dimensional consciousness fields within that presents as the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. So one could say that I, as a channel or a spiritual medium, am opening up and making that connection with these beings or this group of beings or this consciousness construct. There is another way of explaining this though, and that is to say, and forget about channeling mediums and everything, that is to say that one is able to expand the mind where the brain waves move into a different presentation. The 9 call this beyond the theta. So basically you change the brain waves and you are able to access a point of memory, that's how we perceive it, of all that is, if you like, all that's ever happened within all realities and timelines, all that's happening now within all realities and timelines, all that is happening and that will happen in the future within all realities and timelines. We don't open to all of that simultaneously because that's pure omnipresence, although we can find moments where we do that, but we move in and out of this memory presentation. It can be known as a field, the Akashic records, the Akash, many names for it. If you look through my other videos, there's lots of information about what that is. So on the one hand, it's a channeling experience with beings, and on the other hand, it's an expansion of mind, a change in brainwave configurations, if you like, in order to move into an all-knowing state or an accessing of an Akashic record field energy. So that's what's happening here. That's what the 9 mean when they say we come forward through our conduit Magenta Pixie. That's what they mean. So they're speaking of the peak point or culmination point, energetic spike. So as I was saying, this is an energy portal that has moments of higher energy within it. What that means is it's simply easier at that point for you to move into a channeling state, to access the Ascended Masters, or to allow your brainwave configuration to move into this state that I'm talking about. So meditation is easier, dreams are more profound. These downloads, anyone who's connected to this within their reality, these downloads come much more frequently. That can take the place of inspiration and epiphanies and knowings and realizations. And it doesn't just affect the mind, it's the physical body as well. So one can be feeling that they are in a really profound healing state. They feel better than they have for a long time, or it can work in the opposite way. A flare-up of previous health conditions can occur at this time. It's whatever is right for you as a soul that will occur for you at this time if you allow yourself to open to these energies. And the way to open to these energies is to be aware of them, to know that they are there. So this is an energy portal. The transmission is specific to November 11th, but as I've said, this is appropriate right through in all portal moments, really, which are very linked to the Sabbats. But for now, very much from November 11th through to the winter solstice. So this is a culmination point, energetic spike of an energy portal you are now aligning with or sitting within. And the reason why the 9 bring both of those forward is one could look at it that you are aligning with a portal. So you can see that in an astrological sense, you are aligning with the movement of a planetary configuration or the energy that that planetary configuration is giving out. You are aligning with something that is directly affecting you, or aligning with an activation within you, or you are sitting within. So the other way of looking at that is it's not just about aligning or lining up with something, but you are within it. You are the central point within it. You are sitting within it. It's around you, because this is a global movement, a global energy that affects all of the planet and all of humanity. And also it is an individual moment. It affects you individually. That's why you're sitting within it. Because it is you, it is your grid, your aura, your matrix, your field, your personal field. We speak to the conscious, aware and activated individuals. So this next bit is specifically addressed to conscious, aware and activated individuals. The 9 go on to say, for there are those upon your planet who do not align with or sit within these portals we speak of. So some of this information can be confusing because it appears to contradict itself. I've just said to you that this energy affects all of humanity on a global level. And this next bit is saying there are individuals upon your planet who do not align or sit within these portals we speak of. So I will explain that. So this energetic is engulfing, if you like, all of humanity across the globe, across the planet. And that touches everyone. But because it's an individual expression from that higher perspective, there is only you. You are the planet and all of humanity within you, within your own personal infinity field. One needs to be in a state of receptivity, a state of activation, in order to be able to align with and sit within these portals. Some individuals are cut off from that. They block themselves. They don't do this consciously. Every individual is going to want to experience a divine, beautiful moment, a divine portal. But there are those who cut themselves off from this. Now that could be because of their belief system. The belief system is so very important. If you believe wholeheartedly that all of this is complete nonsense and there's no such thing as a portal, and you carry that belief within your cellular structure, because belief can be in the mind and not touch the body can have a different belief to the mind. So if the mind and the body are all in alignment with one another that that's nonsense and there's no such thing as a portal, then that kind of cuts you off from anything that would be presented as a portal. There are those who have that belief, but they don't have that within body, and there are a great many people who present that way. So they think, oh, this is nonsense, this is rubbish, but deep down inside they actually think, oh gosh, I think there are some portals actually. So that within the cellular belief structure, that's not in alignment with this thought process that is really there, coming in from the left-brained aspect of the brain, the left hemisphere. The right hemisphere is much more open. So there are all different parts to an individual, and individuals can have different belief structures and different consciousness presentations within all these different parts of themselves. Other things that will cut people off are lifestyle, actions that they take, foods that they eat, words that they speak, places they frequent. It can be all sorts of things that can create this sort of blocked energy, if you like, a darker energy, an energy that is non-activated. It's so difficult to explain what that energy is, but how I see it as a clairvoyant is a non-activated, lying dormant, shut off or blocked energy that is somewhat grey in its appearance. So somebody would have quite a grey field around them. Somebody who is conscious, aware and activated, how I see these people clairvoyantly is a great light around them, extreme vibrant colour, sometimes swirling pastel colour, lots of blue, and different individuals give off different colour fields, if you like, at different times. Now, I'm not saying the individuals who have this sort of grey or brown sometimes energy in the aura, that doesn't mean they don't have the colours. They do. It's just a personal way that I see an individual's energy field, and every single person will have a different way of experiencing and interpreting energy. Some people may see numbers. I know somebody who just looks at an individual and sees numbers around them. And they will see a sequence of numbers and they will know what those numbers mean. But those numbers are individual to that person. It's their personal way of interpreting that energy field. Now, sometimes you get lots of people who interpret energy fields in a really similar way. So there'll be people out there right now listening to this that interpret energy fields in colour, in light and in numbers. But there are all sorts of ways. Some people might see faces and angels, others hear voices. So that would be more clairaudient. So all of these things are the same thing. We perceive them through sight, sound, feeling, intuition, but they're all the same thing. They're the way that we, as organic technology, interpret another's energy field. Every single human and animal and living thing is an energy field. It is an electrical, magnetic, or electromagnetic energy field, and we can interpret that, we can read it, because we are it as well. So it's what the Nine call organic technology. So there are those who do not align with or sit within these portals. These are the ones that are cut off for whatever reason. So they just simply don't align with them. They don't come into the receiving of this energy. No matter how much light you beam at this person, they've chosen, not consciously, they've made an unconscious choice, and often that's not their fault, if you like, because they've been hijacked, for want of a better word, because of the system that they are experiencing. So we could go deeper and deeper and deeper into that, but that's the predominant reason why there are individuals who do not align with these portals. Now, when those individuals say there's no such thing as a portal, what a load of nonsense, what a load of new age mumbo-jumbo fluff, they're right. They're correct from their perspective. So they will listen to me speak and others like me and say, you're nuts. They're correct. From their perspective, they're not saying something that is incorrect. From the reality that they have created, which is a completely different dimension, they are correct. So it's no good us as spiritually aware individuals saying, oh, don't you call me a new age mumbo jumbo fluffy whatever. I'm right in blah, blah, blah. That's just... you're speaking from another perspective, another dimension. They've shut themselves off from that dimension. They've created a reality for themselves, which is right for them at that time on one level and not right for them on another. Like I said, I could go deeper and deeper and deeper with this. But I did intend to go through a deep analysis with this, as it's quite important at this time, this particular transmission and everything around it and within it. So that's why I'm going sort of deep into this, really. I've had people write to me saying they don't really understand the channeled transmissions. They feel them and they allow the energy to awaken them, and they are experiencing their own processing and analysis through those codes and triggers that come in from the channeled transmission. But they don't necessarily consciously understand it. And when I do these sort of analysis videos, that's when they're able to move into the understanding. So it sort of opens up another level to the transmission. And obviously it would be great if I could analyse every single transmission. I'd be sat in front of my computer doing videos 24/7 though if I did that. But I try my best to do that. So anyway, whilst the energetic frequency is there for them, so these are the individuals who do not align or sit within these portals. From a planetary and global perspective, so that's what I've just said, from a planetary and global perspective, that energy's there for every single individual. They create for themselves an individualized reality bubble timeline, which I just explained. The reality bubble timeline is their own individual reality. It is a bubble because it is an infinity that they exist within. It's a timeline because it creates a future, a past and a present for them, which is a match to what they're giving out and what they are. That does not hold the opportunities for them that they are presented with through these portals of consciousness. So those opportunities of being able to move into a beyond the theta brainwave state, move into channeling, access these downloads, move into healing, have these ideas, move into deep creativity, those opportunities aren't there for them because they've closed themselves off into this individual reality bubble timeline that they've created for themselves without necessarily knowing. And the majority of these individuals won't realise. Anyone who is consciously aware that they are creating a lower vibrational reality bubble will be doing whatever they can to move out of that, or they might be resigned to the fact that they are encased within it. But there's a caveat to that. Anyone who has a realization that they're creating this, for want of a better word, negative spiral for themselves, the realization in itself is a trigger into the receiving of this portal energy. So someone might be sitting there thinking, well, I've created an individualized reality bubble for myself that is blocking me from receiving the energy from these portals. That wouldn't be actually correct. They might perceive it as such within their individual reality, but the awareness of the portal itself is a trigger to the accessing of the portal energy. It also works in a different way as well. There are many individuals who have no idea of these portals. They don't recognise them, they don't understand them, and they may well not believe them either. They may think to themselves it's nonsense. But what they're doing in their life, their actions, their words, their deeds, their thoughts, the energy that they give out is moving them into full alignment with these portals. And there can be individuals who have no awareness of these portals and don't even necessarily believe in them from a mind point of view, that are actually accessing the energy of those portals in a more profound way than somebody who is desperately trying to access the portal. So it isn't just about what you think, it's all of you. It's everything you think, everything you do, every thought you have, your creativity, as simple as just helping someone else, just one other person. You know, you might be somebody who doesn't really help people very often, but you're helping this one person. Yes, you'd be giving out a mixed vibration, but the compassion and assistance that you are showing to the one person would potentially open up a narrow stream. It wouldn't be a wide open vibrating light that allows you to become engulfed by the portal energy, but it would still allow you a small stream. So some people are accessing some of the portal energy in parts of themselves, while other parts of themselves are blocked. There's a whole myriad of configurations within an individual that would determine whether they are receptive to these portal energies and opportunities or not. So the next part is, know that they are always in close proximity to another individual or other individuals who do experience these portals. So every individual who's closed themselves off and are locked in this individualized reality bubble whereby they cannot access these portal energies, they are always in close proximity to another individual or other individuals who do experience the portals. So you may have someone whose mother is experiencing the portals, but they are not. And they might actually think, my mother's crazy, she's nuts, and she's got crystals everywhere, and I don't really want to resonate with that, or I don't agree with that. But they're in close proximity to it. It might be a sister, it might be a grandchild, it might be someone you are in contact with via film, video, books. It might be a friend. It could be anything. But when close proximity is mentioned, it means that you are able to receive the energy of that individual. It doesn't necessarily mean you're living in the same house with them or you're stood next to them. Your energy is in close proximity. Know that they are always in close proximity to another individual or other individuals who do experience these portals. And due to the radiation of frequency, so what that means is light, frequency, higher vibrational consciousness, and the energetic that emanates from you radiates like if you put a heater on, a radiator on, the heat will radiate throughout the room. It's not particularly a good example. Light, if you like, the way light radiates outwards to give light. It's the same thing. Frequency radiates. So, not always, but within a service to others individual who is connecting to these portals in a conscious way, their energy will radiate. And the nines say the light is catching. So they're saying here, due to the radiation of frequency, as in the light is catching, in inverted commas, they are always exposed to the potential and possibility of the portal experience. So anyone who's cut themselves off from the receiving of this portal and its opportunities and energy is always exposed to the potential and the possibility. So that light is beaming on them, if you like. It's radiating on them. And what can actually happen is they can be shutting themselves off from this energy through their lifestyle and their belief system and everything. But because the light is coming in, it only takes the slightest thing, the slightest thought, the slightest realization, the slightest action, the slightest movement, and then that either narrow stream will open, allowing a little light in, or somebody could have a very fast epiphany, which would be known more as a Kundalini awakening spontaneously, and they would access all of that in a flood rather than a little sort of drip. That's more rare, but it's happening more and more right now, and it does happen. Therefore, you may have two individuals living within the same household or community. They may even be in a relationship, such as an earthly marriage or parent-child, yet one may experience the portal within their individualized reality and the other may not. So this is presented so that you may understand how this can work when people are in literal physical close proximity. So you could have a husband and wife, a relationship, a couple. It doesn't always happen in a marriage, but it can do, where one member of the relationship, one partner, experiences the portal and the other does not. What's happening mostly on this planet is that partners are experiencing the portal in different ways and in different degrees. So you might have one partner experiencing the portal in a very profound sense and another that's experiencing it in a smaller sense, if you like. It's rarer for a couple to be in a situation where one doesn't experience it at all and is completely blocked from experiencing the energy and the other is fully experiencing it. But it can happen. It can happen that way. It's not out of the realms of possibility. And then, of course, parent-child, as I've said, mother and child or grandchild or siblings, cousins, friends, living in the same house, flatmates. One may be experiencing the portal within their individualized reality and the other may not. So your reality is an individual bubble. And even if you are being engulfed or blasted with energy of light from another individual or group of individuals, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will receive that energy or be receptive to it. And you can move in and out of this as well. You can actually experience portals for a period of time and then close yourself off temporarily and not experience a portal because of something that's occurring in your life individually that has created a temporary closing off. You're not really fully closed off, as I've said. If you have awareness to the portal, that's a trigger in itself. But there might be times when you feel, well, I experienced the portal at say Easter or at Beltane and at the summer solstice, but I didn't experience the portal at the equinox or at Samhain or at the 11:11. That's rare. Most people who are open to these portal energies will be experiencing all of them and will be in a growth pattern and an expansion pattern, so they'll be experiencing portals more and more profoundly, but this isn't a linear experience and sometimes one can close oneself off. So that's why some people will say, oh, I really felt the energy at this portal at this time, it was so profound and intense, and others may say I didn't feel anything, and others may say I did feel something but it was really negative and it was a really undesirable experience and very challenging. That's because we are going through a global ascension process, a global awakening simultaneously within individualized reality bubbles. So everyone has their own individual reality and their own individual timeline creation. It just so happens that those that we call starseeds are experiencing very similar individualized reality bubble timelines at the same time. So it appears that we're going through this together as if we have a group reality bubble, and of course we do. When one becomes aware of the boundaries of that reality bubble, in the sense that there are no boundaries, that's how to realize the boundary, is to realize that there are no boundaries. You move into a unified field, and I'll come to that later in this transmission. One does move into a group reality timeline, and one begins to create timelines together en masse, millions, if not billions of people, and that's what's happening now. So there are so many ways of looking at this. As I've said, it's a multi-layered, multifaceted, multi-dimensional perspective that one needs to hold in order to grasp what this means. And the receiving of these really profound energy spikes, which are presentations of a cosmic movement. We're moving through a spiral, and if you imagine a spiral going up like this, when you turn that spiral on its side, it will sort of go like this, and that presents more like this. So it's high moments, low moments, high low moments, low moments. It's like a sine wave rather than a spiral. That's how we experience it here in the physical reality. So that's why sometimes we have moments of really high intense energy, high creation, everything is so synchronistically lining up with everything else, and it appears as though there's magic in your reality. And at other times that completely disappears, and you'll think, I'm so cut off, I've lost my guides, I can't access that wonderful brainwave state, my dreams are not telling me anything, and I feel as though I'm blocked or cut off. You're not necessarily blocked or cut off. You might be, depending on what's going on in your reality, but what that might simply be is you experiencing this movement. So it's about going with these waves and embracing the times when you are cut off from that portal experience, if you will, that higher dimensional experience, as much as embracing the times when there's synchronicity and magic in your life and you are feeling those culmination points and those spikes. It's about embracing the entire experience, and that's a challenge. It's not easy. It's not easy because you can find that even if you are doing well in your own experience, those that you love around you are experiencing quite negative realities and are going through challenging and upsetting and difficult times. And you don't want to see your loved ones experience that. So it's challenging for everybody. And it's incredibly challenging for many starseeds because of their sensitivity and the fact that they feel the energies and read the energies of other people. So they can see all the time. They can see when somebody is upset or angry or depressed or furious or whatever it may be. They can see that, and they have to learn to choose when they open up and see and experience the fields of others, and when they need to shut that down for themselves so that they can move back to their own personal configuration and find that focus so that they can align with their own mission. So it's a journey of ups and downs in many ways. That sine wave isn't just one wave, it's multiple. So they're like this, and they're all intertwining like this, all moving at the same time. And when you turn that around, that's the spiral, and that's the DNA. That is the DNA configuration, which, if you've seen my videos, the 9 do say repeatedly, this is a non-linear process. So sometimes you have high DNA configuration activation and other times not so much, and it moves in and out. And that's what happens when you move into this, what is called an ascension experience, as you move into this memory field where you are bringing up awareness that is outside of the physical knowing that you've had since the beginning of your incarnation. Everything you've ever learned within your physical incarnation, you're actually going outside of that and experiencing memory from other incarnations, other timelines, other realities, other perspectives. So that's what's happening to everybody, and it is not necessarily an easy path. It's beautiful and blissful and brings many, many rewards, but it is a challenging path to walk. However, in my own opinion, I feel it is better to walk a path of awareness despite the challenges rather than a path of ignorance. When you're in a path of ignorance, you don't know that you are moving through these energies. You are quite happy, if you like, in your little individualized reality bubble. And you've heard the saying, ignorance is bliss, and that's what that means. And it's bliss because you don't know the greater picture and the sufferings and the challenges that you can experience. So I can understand the saying ignorance is bliss, but from my personal perspective, I would not change the fact that I'm someone who is aware of the bigger picture despite the challenges. That's why we incarnated as starseeds. We incarnated here to experience this. So, as I've said, you may have two individuals living within the same household or community. They may or may not be in a relationship, a marriage, parent-child, and one may experience the portal energies and the other may not, because of their individualized reality bubble timeline. Hence, there are those that speak of multiple portals, of sine wave, rainbow wave fields, and particles of light or cosmic ray dust raining down upon them or flooding them from within. So I will just stop there, mark that down, because there's a lot there. So there are those that speak of multiple portals. So we're looking at starseeds, aware individuals, individuals who are able to feel these multiple portals, these changes in vibration, these changes in energy. So these are the individuals that are receiving this energy, that feel this energy, that are aware of this energy, of sine wave, rainbow wave fields. So what that is, the sine wave, rainbow wave fields, is what I explained. The sine wave, rainbow wave fields. Now the reason why the 9 have come through with this sort of picture here with this sentence is sine wave is giving you this movement, which, as I've said, when it joins with simultaneous multidimensional or quantum movements and you turn it up the other way and get the spiral, that's the DNA configuration, and all of those filaments of light within a quantum field that are awakening at the same time. That's what we might call the 5th strand of the DNA moving into its potential 12 strand or 144 strand or 144,000 configuration. So all of that's there in what the 9 are saying is a sine wave. Rainbow wave would be the bringing in of the colour. Remember, I spoke earlier about being able to read energy fields, and one would see that sometimes as colour. So when you're looking at an individual who is connected and who is experiencing the receiving of the portal energy and the light, that light emanates from them, and another individual may read that in a colour sense and may see around that person or within that person lilacs and blues and reds and yellows and a vibrancy, and they may even be able to decode what these colours mean, whereas somebody who's cut off from the energy gives out this more grey or sort of darker or brown energy around them. It is more, in my perception, a grey sort of colour, which is like a sort of a balance between the black and the white, if you like. Black being a sharp, focused energy, white being a sharp, focused energy, and the grey being the sort of shades in between. And there's nothing wrong with that either. It is an experience, and it's an experience every individual who is moving within the colour in the rainbow will have experienced these times of sort of limbo, if you like, not quite knowing where you are, confusion, haven't quite made a choice, a lack of polarity, a lack of polarization. That's the sort of grey energy that I'm talking about. So that's what the 9 mean when they're bringing in through the words. They're presenting to you a picture, even if you're not able to catch the picture within your own mind's eye, if you will, even if you're not able to see that through the inner sight, the pineal gland, third eye, imagination, you're still getting the words, and then you go away and maybe sleep on it or move into meditation, and those words are an activation. Sine wave, rainbow wave fields, and particles of light, those words are activations because they present so much. It's pretty impossible really to analyze them fully because they're quantum codes. Sine wave is a quantum code. Rainbow is a quantum code. Wave fields, rainbow wave fields is a quantum code. Particles is a quantum code. Light is a quantum code. Particles of light is a quantum code. So you can see all of these different codes and triggers. And for those who are able to move into receptivity of energy, one can say to those individuals, sine wave, rainbow wave fields and particles of light as a sentence, and that is received. It may not be understood. Some may think, what does all that even mean? You know, mumbo jumbo, new age. but they're drawing in the code. Even those who are closed off within the mind and the understanding may be receiving that within the energy, within the cellular memory within. So that is presented here in that sentence as individuals who are speaking about this, speaking of multiple portals and speaking of sine wave, rainbow wave fields and particles of light. So there are individuals who speak of this. That's because they feel it. So they're teaching it, or they are talking about it or writing about it, but they're presenting that which they feel. And there are many, many, many individuals doing this. Or cosmic ray dust raining down upon them. So cosmic ray dust. So what we're looking at here is we're moving away from the matrix, the individualized matrix, the sine wave, which is the configuration of the way energy works in our experience, and we're moving away from a DNA configuration. So we're not moving away, we're just moving into another perspective, which is the cosmic ray dust. So the other way of looking at this is to see that the cosmos is that which gives us this portal energetic experience of light. So when we say cosmic ray, we are looking at light rays, cosmic rays. These are cosmic rainbow rays, again, rainbow waves. So these rainbow waves aren't just coming up from within the DNA. The rainbow waves are moving down into us, if you like, from the cosmos. Now dust, the word dust is a physical thing. It's still thin and fine. One would see a particle, but dust actually gives you something physical. So when you say particles of light, well, you can't see those. They're light. You can see them energetically, but you can't see them physically in the way that you can see this crystal. You can see this crystal physically, but the light around me, you would, if you are seeing it, you would be seeing it energetically and psychically and clairvoyantly, but you see this physically. So when they say dust, they bring you into the physical. Cosmic ray dust is a thing. It's a tangible thing. Now, is this a metaphor or is this literal? Which is interesting. It's both. Cosmic ray dust is a metaphor for the intelligence of the cosmos that you are aligning with when you align with these portals, and that is what gives you the ability to open up this brainwave state and move into the beyond the theta. So it's metaphoric in that sense. It's literal as well. There really are particles. It's not necessarily dust as in the stuff that you will see when you dust your house or hoover the floor, but it is a very fine chemical or structure, and I used a crystal, it's similar in structure to a crystal, that is kind of projected from space debris, stars and planets and movements from things like comets. It creates like a substance, a very fine, thin substance. And so yes, dust is literal as well. And that comes down onto us and into our food and into the sea and into the atmosphere that we breathe. So it's a literal thing as well as a metaphoric thing. So cosmic ray dust raining down upon them. So using the word raining, well, when it's raining, water is coming down upon us as a literal substance. It's a liquid. This is the same thing. It might not be something we see. Some people can see these dust particles, but many of us don't, and they just come down upon us into our atmosphere. So they are raining down upon us, raining down upon them or flooding them from within. So how can a cosmic substance flood you from within? And that moves you back to the DNA and is explaining how the DNA is in perfect alignment with cosmic movement and cosmic configuration. So where you may have cosmic dust coming in from stars and space debris and comets and that sort of thing, the cellular structure within the body and within the blood and within bone also releases an organic substance that is very similar or is the same thing, but in a somewhat different way. It's the same thing, but it comes up from the physiological body movement, so it's more sort of chemical. It moves along with the movements of the bodily organs, and it's the same thing as this dust that comes in from the cosmos. So it does work, it does flood you from within, but that would take you to the perspective of the DNA. So that would be, I guess another way of looking at this would be to look at something like a hallucinogen, like psilocybin or ayahuasca. It's not like that, because that's an outside substance, but we have that within us. Like DMT, that's within the pineal gland, but that also floods within the body. The Nine have said to me before, when we speak to you, we flood your body with a mind-altering substance or psychotropic substance. And when they first told me this, I remember saying, do you? I didn't want you to do that. I don't want you to flood my body with some weird chemical. But so it's the same sort of thing. It's the same thing. We are aligning physically and metaphorically and energetically with what's happening in the cosmos. We can go one step further than that and actually say that it's the same thing. It's in the same place. So the microcosm, the within, is the same place as the macrocosm, which is the without. It's the same thing. What's happening within our bodies and within our DNA structures is a complete, not just a complete mirror of the cosmic movements, but is the same thing. The cosmos is the expansive aspect of our own bodies, if you like. What goes on at the deepest, most quantum fractal level within the cellular structure of our makeup is the cosmos. So if you were to go right down into one of the cells of your body and go right down as far as you possibly could into that cell, you'd keep going on and on and on for infinity, and eventually you'd come out in space. And vice versa, if you were to go into an atom or a particle in space, you'd keep going on and on and on and on for infinity, and eventually you'd come out inside someone's body. If that makes sense. I know that that's a difficult one to get your head round, but yes, it's the same place. This is what the Nine are telling me. So I'll stop that there for this particular video. So that's just analysing the very first part of this transmission, and I will be back to analyse more in another video. So thank you very much for listening, and I will see you again. In this transmission from the White-Winged Collective Consciousness of Nine, I, Magenta Pixie, bring forward information specific to utilising the rose gold flame as antidote to 5G, EMFs, chemicals, chemtrails, and similar. The presented template utilises the Schumann resonance, and the technique is alchemical unification. In this book, the Nine discuss synchronicity, discernment skills, and understanding of discordance and disharmony within truth and lightworker communities. They present a workable model of expression, assisting the spiritual explorer in creating a necessary toolkit. This allows the individual to construct a shield, bringing safety, harmony, expansion, and cohesive sovereignty into their own personal reality and their matrix field. I am pleased to present my new short book, The Black Box Program and the Rose Gold Flame as Antidote.